Morning, legends. Today is an interesting day because it might actually rain for the first time since fucking November. It's now March. That's how long it's been since Adelaide has had any kind of rain, hey? And you're pretty pissed off and sick of this hot weather, aren't you, hey? So thank you, Queensland, for sending down some remnants of the cyclone down Adelaide. We've needed this fucking rain. Now this week, I've decided that it's going to be a deload week because running is really hard, especially when you take a lot of time off and you get back into it. You realise that, like, there's a lot of impact involved in running, and my calves have been really sore recently, and my Achilles on the left side has been ever so slightly tender at the start of runs and after for the last 3 runs in a row, and that means I am deloading this week, taking it easy and getting on top of my issues before they become big issues. Now, generally speaking, you want to be more proactive rather than reactive with running and running niggles and things like that. And sometimes it's hard to do that. Like myself, for example, I'm terrible at being a proactive person. I'm trying my best, but I want to hear what you guys do for your deload weeks when you decide to take a deload week, and how long for, and where, and why, and how, and who. Also, hats are for sale. Welcome 10 at checkout. Get you 10% off. Amazing. Okay, so let's first talk about the reactive deload. Okay, this is you reacting to something that's happened in your training or life that is resulting in you needing to do a deload. So first of all, feeling like shit. If you feel like absolute shit and it's impacting your training, then it's probably likely that you need to have a deload for at least 1 week. You know, every time I've pretty much been sick, I've always tried to push through that sickness, and it always ends up just delaying the fatigue. You just spread the fatigue and feeling like shit over a longer period of time rather than just deloading for 1 week and getting over it very quickly. Another thing to look at is biomarkers. You know, is your resting heart rate a little bit higher than it usually is? Is your HRV out of the normal range? Things like that tend to give you an indication that you are pushing too hard in your training, or something's going wrong that you need to have a reactive deload from. Now, the next one is a niggle. Okay, if you start to pick up a little bit of a niggle, it's probably better to react to that in a way that allows this thing to actually rest and get better. And the only way it's going to really get better is not by running through it, it's by taking an actual deload. Like the last 3 runs, Achilles, a little bit sore, not injured, but it's just letting me know that it's not really enjoying what it's doing right now. And so what do? I take a deload week from the running itself. Now the thing is, the rest of my body feels absolutely fine. I've had no issues on the bike or anything like that. So the deload for this week is only going to really be to allow this Achilles to get a little bit better. Like, I'm not going to deload from the bike training or the strength training because that has not been giving me the issues. It's actually just been the impact of the running. So if I just deload the impact, I should be able to get on top of this pretty quickly. It's all about reacting to things before they become super shitty. Another thing that should result in a reactive deload would be some sort of life stress. Like, did something happen at work that's just completely cooked your week? Have you had a massive week at work in the last, fortnight, or something that's resulted in you really pushing your body to the limits, balancing training and work? Things like that also require a reactive deload. Stress is stress on the body, whether it's emotional stress, lack of sleep stress, whether it's bloody breaking up with your girlfriend stress, whether it's running stress. It's all stress on the body. And sometimes you have to have this full systemic deload to get over that stuff. So that is reactive deloads. Let's talk about proactive deloads. All right, let's talk about proactive deloads. Now, a proactive deload is something that you plan ahead of time. It's not reactive. You're not reacting to something, you're planning it ahead of time before anything goes wrong. And the number one reason why you would do this is to freshen up the body. You see, the way that a deload works is that when you actually rest, you get what's called a super compensation. And so that extra bit of rest allows you to get fitter and stronger and more resilient, because you have that whole week or whatever period of time that you want to deload for to recover. So essentially, you're just going to adapt to the training and absorb the training that you've done. And that is the main goal of a proactive deload. And you can do this in many different ways. You know, you can do 4 to 6 weeks on, 1 week off, and just continue with that consistently. You can choose specific weeks where you know that other things apart from your training are going to be really stressful. Like say, for example, you have a wedding or something. You can plan ahead of time to make that a deload week where you're not going to do your long run on a Sunday because you're out at a wedding. Or, you know, if your missus has a kid or something, or well, you have a kid too, but if you and your missus have a kid, then you probably need to have a deload week. You can plan that ahead of time. The idea is that you can get ahead of potential or risk-taking behaviors. Another reason that you would do this, and possibly my favorite reason why you would do this, is to actually increase your weekly load or mileage going into the next training block. Okay, so say for example, you're running 60 Ks a week and you have been doing for a while, and anytime you try and boost it up to 70 Ks a week, it's just really fatiguing for you. So what you could do with this proactive deload is you could have a rest for a week and then hit this new 70K week goal with fresher legs, allowing you to absorb it and maybe not get yourself into a fatigue hole quite as quickly. That is the best way to proactively deload. But the sun has come out and it doesn't look like it's actually gonna rain, so on we go with this fucking 4-month drought, bro. It's actually insane. There are actually ponds around the place that I've never seen dry in my entire life, even since being a child, and they are dry as fuck, to the point where they actually look like concrete. Like all the trails, all the running trails around the place feel like concrete at the moment. It's just so dry. Maybe that's what's flared up my Achilles. I don't really know, but I definitely got to get my ass back to work. A deload from work would be nice, hey? You know, just a full deload, but you know, got bills to pay for, you got hats to pay for, 3 new colors in development right now, coming soon, and Welcome 10 will still be valid for the new hats. So get around it. If you want to cheat the system and, you know, use different email addresses to use Welcome 10, I don't give a shit. You know, do whatever you want, as long as you're buying the stuff and being part of the Peak Stride Run Club. I'll see you guys in about 3 hours. Fucking get in here, will you? So what does a deload really look like? Well, generally speaking, it depends on the reason why you're actually deloading, okay? Apologies, there's the guy over there with a lawnmower, so bear with me. So if it's like an injury or a niggle, then you should definitely remove intensity and drop the overall volume by at least 20 to 30%. That gives the body enough time to actually recover and fix whatever the hell's going on, okay? It also gives you a bit of a break. Now, if your deload is from fatigue, or your biomarkers are starting to look really bad for consistently, you know, 3 or 4 days in a row, then it means that you're probably gonna have to do the exact same thing. Drop the intensity, drop the load by 20 to 30%, and overall, just try and freshen yourself up. And so for all the proactive deload strategies, essentially, it really just depends on what kind of training cycle you're on. You know, if you are doing a 7-day training cycle, then it might mean that your deload is just 1 week. But if you're more, you know, a 10-day or a 5-day person, it really doesn't matter. What actually matters is that your chronic training load you're under that for enough time that it allows you to fully recover and get ready for whatever other stimulus you're going to be adding in after this deload. Now, if you're having time off because of life stuff, like you have plans or you're going on a holiday or something, I can tell you from personal experience that training on holiday is really, really hard and really annoying and frustrating because your whole schedule is kind of fucked up. Your sleep's probably a little bit cooked as well. So I would say that on holiday, the deload should be that you just reduced all sessions to 0, okay? You just do easy running and some strides at the end of your run just to keep yourself ticking along. I wouldn't do crazy workouts on holiday. It's just not even worth it. There's just so much stuff going on that's changed in your life. It's not worth the risk. The golden rule is 80% drop in volume and intensity drops depending on what issues you actually have. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I gotta go back to work. The grind never stops. I'll see you guys tomorrow.